20 homes that are just totally destroyed. One home sitting there because it had the right roof on it.
I've been in construction. I have yet to hear anybody dealing in codes and building structures and how things are put together ever tell me, man, this house went down because it had the wrong roof. Y'all remember Maui? Do you remember the specific kinds of things that survived in Maui?
It was, how could an entire apartment building and every car melt, yet this blue Toyota Tundra?
Those days in Maui and in Texas are because of any one particular person. I'm gonna let people infer that. He cannot function around people. He cannot walk in a straight line. He gets lost everywhere he goes. So I get people who come and say, well, you have to, he's an elderly man, then he shouldn't be in power. Never tell a lie. Secondary, don't tell someone who is not mentally capable of holding themselves together a lie, because then they regurgitate it thinking it's true and they spill your beans. Who am I talking about? Yeah, well, the one and only Mr. Biden himself. Now, we're going to play something for you to hear. Now, I have to be honest with you, when I first heard it, there's a level of anger that dropped on me that I hadn't felt in a long time. Like, I need to go hit the gym for like 5 hours kind of anger, or need to hit my prayer closet for 16 hours kind of, but I'll let you hear and you decide whether or not you're going to come defend or agree with what we have to say about what you hear. Okay? Listen up.
We rebuild to the standards that are the up-to-date standards and building codes and the rest, because if you fly over these areas that are burned to the ground, you'll see in the midst of 20 homes that are just totally destroyed, one home sitting there because it had the right roof on it. And anyway,
I have been in maintenance before. I've done just about every job, not to brag, but I've done just about every job, because there was no job I was not willing to do because it's work. I've been in construction. I've been in dealing with codes. I have yet to hear anybody dealing in codes and building structures and how things are put together ever tell me, man, this house went down because it had the wrong roof. Yeah, well, if it only had the right kind of roof on there, it would have been fine in a fire. Oh yeah, there was a natural disaster around here where a big brush fire hit, but if that house had the right kind of roof on it, man, it would have lived, not a scorch on it. So I don't want to hear any nonsense about it being, he misspoke because he was talking about building codes. The roof wouldn't be the first place I'd go to defend building codes. Like at all. I'd go to something like, I don't know, electrical. Or how about insulation? The two most, I don't know, what they call it? Flammable things in your house. The roof, right? If y'all don't get what he meant by that yet, as far as the quiet part out loud, y'all remember Maui? Y'all remember what we saw after Maui? Do you remember the pictures? Do you remember the specific kinds of things that survived in Maui?
Hey guys, check this out. This blue truck here was just pulled out of the parking garage of this apartment building that burned to the ground in Lahaina. Just pulled out. My question to you, and matter of fact, there's the owners of the vehicle right there talking to my wife. My question to you is, how could an entire apartment building and every car melt, yet this blue Toyota Tundra?
From cars to homes to umbrellas. Do you remember a specific type of color on these roofs? Remember that blue that we told you, hey, there might have been something up with that? And then people start talking about these energy weapons coming around, and it only avoids certain colors. And it just so happened that these right kind of roofs were, I don't know, missed. What I'm not going to say out loud is that the lives we lost those days in Maui and in Texas are because of any one particular person. I'm going to let people infer that. Because at some point we have to start doing a little bit of math, and I'm talking about elementary. 2 + 2, 1 + 1, 1 fish, 2 fish, blue fish, red fish. You know what I'm talking about. At some point we have to stop. Look, the man can say all day long that he has dementia or that he has but he keeps reminding people that he's fine. Remember, he is fine. So if he misspoke, He either is not fine, because that's a pretty big misspeak, or he is not misspeaking and he's telling the truth. Let's run two of these scenarios down the road. If he did misspeak, then he shouldn't be speaking, nor should he be in charge. That's a pretty big misspeak to make. If he is not misspeaking and he's telling the truth, you get what that means, right? Do you understand that him knowing that a certain thing can avoid a certain thing, and you've allowed that certain thing to take place, that you are by proxy okay with it? I am no fan of Joe Biden, like not even in the slightest. There is nothing about Joe Biden, not a single thing that I can find meritorious about Joe Biden. But this statement absolutely ends any hope I have of that man coming to his senses. Like I'm completely 100% serious. Let's do some analytics here for just 1 second, if you would bear with me. You have an individual who cannot finish a coherent sentence, or when he begins to speak, nothing really is said. He cannot function around people. He cannot walk in a straight line. He gets lost everywhere he goes. So I get people who come and say, well, you have to, he's an elderly man, then he shouldn't be in power. Then he misspoke, then he shouldn't be talking. And what's even worse, if what he says is true, this is no different than what happened in 2001. Y'all remember 2001? I hope y'all remember 2001. There was a pretty big event that took place in 2001. And we all know what that came from and what it yielded. And now we have all these fires. And this man gets up there and starts to talk about the right kind of roof.
You'll see in the midst of 20 homes that are just totally destroyed, one home sitting there because it had the right roof on it.
I'm going to let y'all figure that out for yourself, and let you come to the conclusion that's inevitable by that statement alone. Because if I were to say it, you could say goodbye to Too Strong. You could. Right then and there, you can just, goodbye channel, it's gone. But for those who are no longer with us, the ones in Maui, in Texas, and anywhere else on U.S. soil that a wildfire has taken homes and lives, if his statement is not one of an incoherent mind, but one of a fully coherent mind, and he knows exactly what he's saying, then I think I know he knows exactly what happened too. And everybody has seen what's happened. So a deductive mind, a logical mind, can draw a very, very clear conclusion to that. I know that most of America, not most, maybe not most, a lot of America no longer has functioning brains, because we've given in to platforms and platitudes and all these nonsensical terms and ways of living. We've given into it. Most of them are not coming back to this side of reality. But for those of you who still have cognition, you can literally add 2 and 2 together and figure out what he just said. And what he just said is incredibly crazy to me, but not unexpected. I don't know what that will yield, and I can expect a whole bunch of people to say, it's not what you think. You're crazy. I'm going to get my tinfoil hat. It's okay. I have a couple of spare ones. I'm going to keep wearing it. But if you want me to take the man at his word, which is what you keep telling us to do, right? He's smart. He's coherent. He knows what he's saying. If that's the truth, I'm going to take your word for it. Then he knows exactly what he said. And based on what we've seen, if what he says is true, about 20 houses around it just gone, and that one stayed standing because it had the right roof. I guess he is God now, because remember when God sent the plague and he said to the Israelites, hey, put that thing on the lamb's blood on your doorstep and the angel of death will pass over you. They had the right doorpost. I guess he's God now. But it makes sense, because that's what Joe Biden really believes he is. The way he behaves, the way he talks. And I don't mean the incoherent part. I mean the random coherent part that he says out loud. That's what you really should pay attention to. Not the now listen to when he actually clarifies his thought process and speaks, and he says that, and then he does this. Oh well, anyway. That's when you realize, oh crap, I spoke too coherent. I gotta muffle this up a little bit. And shoes, don't forget your shoes when you got the doorway and 5. Right after he says something that is absolutely earth-shatteringly true. I know we don't get too political on this channel, but this has gone long past the terms of politics. We're dealing with people's lives now. And I don't just mean livelihoods. I literally mean your lives now. We're in the gleaning of their administration. My only question to you is this. How long are you going to sit down and take it? How long? When you going to find your 1776? When you going to find your 1775? Heck, when you going to find 1774? Any of those years will work right now. I pray you find it before it's too late, though, because we're probably about half a year away before too late. We'll see what you do.